There is a particular kind of exhaustion that has nothing to do with sleep. It is the exhaustion of replaying a conversation for the 100th time, wondering if you said too much, or too little, or the wrong thing entirely. It is the quiet dread before opening a message, the tightness in your chest when someone's opinion of you shifts even slightly, the hours lost imagining what they must be thinking. You have handed someone a key to a room inside you, and now they can walk in whenever they please, rearranging your peace without ever asking permission. Most people spend their entire lives unaware they have done this. They call it sensitivity, or caring what people think, or simply being human. But 2,000 years ago, a group of thinkers identified this exact suffering with startling precision, and they did not treat it as an unavoidable part of existence. They treated it as a problem with a solution, one that required no external circumstance to change at all, only a shift in where a person chooses to place their attention. Marcus Aurelius, a man who commanded the most powerful empire on earth, wrote to himself in the middle of the night, not about how to silence his critics, but about how to become someone their words could no longer touch. This is worth sitting with. The most powerful man alive still had to train himself against the sting of other people's judgments. Power did not grant him immunity. Discipline did. To understand why this wound cuts so deep, you have to understand what is actually happening beneath the surface. When someone criticizes you, or withdraws their approval, or simply looks at you differently than before, your mind does not experience this as a passing comment. It experiences it as a threat to your identity, almost identical to a physical danger. For most of human history, being rejected by the group meant literal death, exile from the tribe that kept you fed and protected. Your nervous system has not caught up with the fact that a stranger's opinion on the internet cannot actually starve you or leave you defenseless in the wilderness. It reacts as though it can. This is why a single unkind comment can outweigh 100 kind ones, why praise fades quickly, but criticism lingers for days. You are not weak for feeling this. You are simply running ancient software in a modern world, and the Stoics understood this gap long before psychology gave it a name. Epictetus, who began his life enslaved and was routinely subjected to the will and cruelty of others, arrived at a distinction so simple it is almost overlooked, and yet it is the foundation of everything that follows. Some things are within your control: your judgments, your actions, your effort, your character. Everything else, including what people think of you, whether they approve or condemn, whether they stay or leave, belongs to a category entirely outside your power. He taught that suffering begins the moment we confuse these two categories, when we start believing that our peace depends on something we were never meant to command in the first place. Read that again slowly, because it dismantles an assumption most people never question. You do not control how others perceive you. You never did. The version of you that exists in someone else's mind is built from their history, their moods, their wounds, their limitations, not from your actual worth. Chasing their approval is like trying to steer a ship using someone else's hands on the wheel. This is not an invitation to stop caring about people or to become cold and indifferent. Amor fati, one of the most profound Stoic principles, teaches something far more demanding than detachment. It teaches the active embrace of what is, including the disapproval, the misunderstanding, the criticism that will inevitably come simply because you exist and take up space in the world. Seneca, who endured exile, the loss of his fortune, and eventually a forced death at the order of an emperor he once tutored, wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most of the pain caused by other people's opinions never actually happens to you physically. It happens entirely in the theater of your own mind, replayed and amplified, until a passing comment becomes a verdict on your entire existence. Here is where the practical shift begins, and it is simpler than most people expect. Though simple does not mean easy. The next time you feel the pull to defend yourself, to explain, to win someone over, to prove your worth to a person who has already decided not to see it, pause before reacting. Ask yourself a single question. Is this within my control? If the answer is no, and it almost always is, when the issue is someone else's perception, then the most powerful response available to you is strategic silence. Not silence born from weakness or fear, but silence chosen deliberately. The same silence Marcus Aurelius practiced when faced with flattery and betrayal alike. Silence does not confirm guilt. It confirms that you have stopped auditioning for approval you were never guaranteed. This is where immunity to criticism is actually built, not through arrogance, and not through pretending words do not matter, but through anchoring your sense of worth in something that cannot be taken from you by another person's mood or misunderstanding. The Stoics called this virtue, meaning the quality of your own character, your honesty, your discipline, your courage to act rightly even when no one is watching or approving. When your identity is built on virtue rather than validation, criticism becomes information rather than injury. Someone may be right, and you adjust. Someone may be wrong, and you simply continue, because their opinion was never the foundation your life was standing on to begin with. Consider how differently you would move through the world if you genuinely internalized this. The email that unsettled you for hours becomes a message you read once and release. The friend who went quiet no longer determines whether your day is good or bad. The stranger's cutting remark passes through you like wind through an open window, felt for a moment, then gone, because there was nothing inside you rigid enough to hold on to it. This is not numbness. It is the opposite. It is the clarity that comes from no longer needing everyone to understand you in order to understand yourself. Marcus Aurelius ruled for nearly 2 decades, faced war, plague, betrayal from those closest to him, and still found a way to write. This is not something that happens to me. This is something I decide what to do with. That is the entire practice, distilled into a single choice, repeated daily. Not the absence of pain, but the refusal to let someone else hold the pen that writes your worth. Give people your kindness, your honesty, your effort, but never again give them the quiet, sovereign authority over how you see yourself. That belongs to you, and it always did.